of feeling. And he also wrote, here is an interesting thought to speculate on. If feelings and emotions acting through the avenue of consciousness can produce havoc in our lives, what would happen if the same feelings and emotions were constructively employed? What would happen if we could convert the energy of fear to faith, the energy of doubt and uncertainty into a feeling of belonging to the universe and being safe in it? Would not the original artist itself go forth into new creation through us? Worth your thought. Please look at the screen or on the front of your program. Now you have to make a choice up there. You don't get to read it all. You got to leave one word out. Okay. I am a woman of power. The power within me is the power of God and is my divine authority to create. I use it wisely for the highest good. Oh, yes. Well, it's all the same, right?
Reflex. Reflex.
So, good morning, everyone. I am so happy to be here. In fact, I am actually exuberant and very excited, and I promised myself that one of my things is to actually show it. So I am expressing joy in being with you this morning and just loving the fact that we are all here together. So I would like to bring your attention to this place in this space right here, right where we are. You know, we are at the Center for Joyful Living, which is, we call a campus of consciousness. And so we're all about consciousness, and believe it or not, this talk is about consciousness. Got it, see? We are all on the same wavelength. So whenever we talk about consciousness, there could be a really in-depth research and study on this, just the word consciousness. You can look at it from a medical standpoint. You can look at it from a psychological standpoint. You can talk about consciousness from a spiritual standpoint. So what we're going to do today is bring it all together and just talk about the oneness of all consciousness. And that's where we are right here, right now. So I'm going to start like Stephen Covey. You know Stephen Covey? 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He said, start with the end in mind. Can you imagine that? Start with the end in mind. This way we know where we're going when we get there, that we made it. So let's think about for a minute where we're going to start with the end in mind. And for this, I would like for you to join me in just a little example, if you're willing. See, we always have choice. If you're willing, I'd like for you to just raise your right hand and just stretch your right hand as far as you can stretch it, and just imagine that you are able to continue to reach as far as you can in infinity and keep going and keep going and keep going. And then imagine yourself just feeling how that is to be so expansive that we are able to even just imagine ourselves in outer space and beyond. Let's imagine ourselves just being the whole universe. And just breathe that in. And now breathe in that space, because this is the space of oneness. When we get into infinity, when we talk about eternality, when we talk about all is the same, all is one, we're in that space. This is that expanded consciousness. And so, beginning with the end in mind, let's take a moment and breathe in that space of expanded consciousness. And now you can begin to bring your hand back down. Bring your hand down about meridian, about the center of your body. And just bring it down slowly, and just imagine yourself breathing in this expanded universe that we have touched because we have allowed ourselves to expand to that space. Bring it in. And just about where your hand is at the, let's say, third eye. Let's say just about the place of the intellect, we become aware of this consciousness is right here where we are, right here and right now. So we're touching the field of oneness and we're bringing it into consciousness. So that brings us back to the word. Consciousness just means aware. And so now we are aware of this field of oneness, and we are conscious of it. We are bringing our hand all the way down and just let it stop above your heart. And just imagine that you have now allowed yourself to become aware of the oneness consciousness, the consciousness of all that there is, and you have placed it by your awareness right in your heart. Feel that and breathe it in. Okay, and if your eyes have been closed, they didn't have to be, but mine just sort of go there. If your eyes have been closed, just gently open your eyes, and I'd like to share a quote with you. For some reason, I can see the quote much better when I have my glasses, and it looks like someone has moved my glasses, or I have moved my glasses. Anyway, let's try these. we have the ability to see clearly all over this place, so let's try these. So I'll just dive right into our awareness of oneness consciousness right here in our heart. Ernest Holmes says, I cleanse the windows of my mind that it may become a mirror reflecting inspiration from the Most High. So when we are aware of oneness consciousness, we're dealing with the Most High, okay? All that there is. Forever and ever, Alpha, Omega, this is big. So he says, I do this not with strenuous effort, but through quiet contemplation. Through gently reaching and affirming an inward recognition, I know exactly what to do in every situation. There is an inspiration within me which governs every act, every thought, with certainty, conviction, and peace. Ernest Holmes. So take a breath. Now let's go back to Stephen Covey, where he says begin with the end in mind. Let's go back to the end and keep it in mind, because T.S. Eliot says we're going to move around this place and come back to this space right where we started. Let me read his quote. It's one of my favorite. We shall not cease from exploration, and at the end of all our exploring, we will be to arrive where we started and to know this place for the first time. Now breathe, and breathe in those three quotes. Think about them just for a minute. Don't spend a lot of time. But you may notice that these three quotes, the songs, the music, everything that has been said, the reading here this morning, have a commonality to it. It's all truth. It's all about the truth. So we're talking about the truth. So let's truly be here and be now. right here in this place. Allow your shoulders to drop. There's no stress. There's no worry. We are aware of oneness consciousness. So here we go. We don't want to keep our consciousness of oneness inside in our hearts. We want to be prepared to share this wonderful news with everybody that we meet. We got to come out and share the bliss, because it's a wonderful place to be. How many people would raise their hand and say, yes, I am consciously aware that I am one?
Yes.
Okay. Whoa, we're in the right place. Okay. Because what happens to a lot of people when we step out, here's what happens. What happens is that we begin to look through a glass darkly. And all that consciousness inside is so wonderful. But when we step out and become aware of the consciousness in the outside, well, in the world of form in which we have decided to incarnate and have our being right here, right now, in the world of form, sometimes it doesn't look the same as it did when we were just consciously aware of this blissful union with the one, and everything is good and very good. And then we step out and we're trying to be a beneficial presence in the world, and we've got wars and rumors of wars over here, and we've got poverty and pestilence over here, and then we get into fear like, oh my goodness, could that be me? I don't want that to be my family, and how, oh, I'm a poor thing. And we begin to see that sometimes things in the small c, when we become aware and conscious of the small c, of the right here and right now, then it's a springboard and calls us into action. So let's say, well, how could that be? I am aware of the goodness of God. I am aware of the oneness. I'm aware of the peace. I'm aware of love. This is what I want to bring to this situation. Well, that's what we want to do. That's what we do. But how do we do that? Because in order to do that, we have to bring some awarenesses to us. Now, what are these awarenesses that I'm talking about? The first one is, if we open our eyes to this reality, this, well, some people call it illusion, but it's all transient. If we open our eyes to where we are right now, and we are conscious of this place in this space where we are right now, the state of the world, we must go back to our own internal awareness of the state of who we really are, of who we are in truth. And so if we are creating something or being creators, and something is going on in the world of form that doesn't quite fit with this higher level of thinking, then it behooves us to make a shift. Now, are we going to make a shift on the eternal, changeless change? Are we going to make a shift like, oh, well, this must not be right? Are we going to shift here because this, what we have inside, never changes? It never shifts. It never leaves us. It's always there, internally. We have a very rich inner life. So it's when we open our eyes and we see what's going on outside, then now we are able to say, what are you thinking? Or I might even say, what am I thinking? I need to shift that. Because in the material transient world, these are the things that we may come in contact with. And it's going to be our, I don't want to say duty, but oh my goodness, we could say duty. It may behoove us to make a change. So here we go. When we go into the world of effects, we might start thinking negative thoughts. We might buy into some feelings that are not quite fuzzy feelings, not quite warm and fuzzy feelings. We might buy into a fear. we might say, oh my goodness, I can't believe you said that. I can't believe you practice that religion. I don't like those people over there. Well, I'm just going to stay home. All kinds of beliefs that we might begin. So when we start to begin to live from this consciousness of oneness, these outdated beliefs that no longer serve the higher purpose changes. There's a shift. Because in order for this change to happen, to manifest, to occur, whatever it is, into the positive, we have to change the way we're thinking and bring our thinking into alignment. See, right now, if we're not conscious, we're going to bring our thinking into alignment, but the alignment must be what we think, feel, say, and do all the way through projected in the world. If there is a underlying fear or doubt, I'm not good enough, I can't do that, nobody loves me and I'm not supported. What do they think? I never have $1. On and on. If we buy into all of that negative thinking, then that is what is attracted to us, and that is what we bring to a situation. We don't want to buy into the negativity of a situation. We want to bring peace to ourselves and project that out and let that be the consciousness of everybody in this room and the whole universe. We want peace. Remember, we have to be the peace. What if I just say, oh, no, you guys over there, stop fighting, be peaceful, and then I'm going on about my business because inside I'm peaceful? No. I'm not casting stones at anybody and saying your way is the wrong way. I'm saying that in the consciousness of oneness, it's all good, and we have at our, disposal, we have within us, in this warm, rich inner life, everything that is needed for us to be successful in the outer world. So the rich inner life, reflected from the highest of the high, comes out in ways that are unimaginably positive and uplifting. When we do that, our consciousness is actually a catalyst, and it uplifts the consciousness of everybody that we come in contact with. Also has the opposite effect. If we are bringing in a shaded light, if we're looking at the world through a glass darkly and nothing is ever good enough, then we come in, now we want to deal with that in a positive way, in a way that can help facilitate change for not just ourselves, but for everyone. Thomas Troward said that the action of mind or thought plants the nucleus, which if allowed to grow undisturbed will eventually attract to itself all conditions necessary for its manifestation in outward form. Christian Day Larson said our destiny is not mapped out for us by some exterior power. It's not mapped out by anything outside of us. We map it out for ourselves. And what we think and do in the present determines what will happen from this moment forward. Dennis Waitley says we're always moving toward our current dominant thought. So I ask you again, what are you thinking? What am I thinking? What are you feeling? How do you feel about the way your life is going? Is there anything in your life that you're not satisfied with? Then you get to choose, make a choice to change it. Ernest says, change your thinking, change your life. Change your thinking, change your life. Well, like magic, I say, change your thinking. Now, what with that thought you had, change it. Now, if we want change to happen at any point, we don't define how that comes about. The Buddha was in the wilderness for 40 years seeking enlightenment, and at which time, while he was out in the world, he was aware of suffering. He was aware of, of death. He was aware of all these things, and then becoming the enlightened one, which means that now aware of who he is in consciousness, he gave us like a roadmap. He says, okay, we do have suffering, I grant you that. We're not putting our heads in the sand like an ostrich. We do have some things going on that are challenging. We do have some things going on that, hey, I think I'll change that. You have that bright idea. That has to be your idea. Not only does that have to be your idea, I think I'll change that. What the Buddha says, now you must go into divine right action. You are in contact with the divine. You are of the divine. You are the divine. You know what to do. Your action is divine. Go into divine right action. Well, he also, let me just go over this quickly with you, very quickly. He gave us what is called the Noble Eightfold Path. How many are familiar with it? Okay. The Buddha gave us a way to live. Not only the Noble Eightfold Path is a way for us to live, but a way for us to live in oneness consciousness. And so from the very beginning, he said, we must have right thought. We must have right thought. We must have right wisdom. What are we thinking about? If we're thinking about the negative stuff over there, no. Right thought, right wisdom. This is intelligence. Does it make sense? And then as it comes down, we must talk about it. And he says right speech. Right speech is always positive because it's always creative. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. The Word was with God. That means that God was already there with this Word. And so our speech, what we say, is so powerful. And when we say it with feeling, and when we say it with emotion, I know that I am one. I am convinced of that. I know I am consciousness. I am the consciousness of the one. I know that for me, and I know that for all of us, because we are one. He said right action, and out of right action comes right livelihood. We worry, sometimes we worry about how am I going to make a living, make ends meet, don't have enough money, what job am I going to do, what is my career, I don't know. Settle into the stillness and the quiet and be with that consciousness of oneness, and right livelihood comes to you because this is the mission. This is what we are here to do, and we are compensated by that. The other thing is right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. And so when we have all of these lined up and we are using all of the powers of God that reside within, when we open our eyes, we see in our reality that which we have created. We have used the creative power of the highest consciousness, universal consciousness. We have used it, we use it in our lives continuously. We choose how we want to use it, if we want to change something or just accept things the way that it is. But remembering is that where we put our awareness, awareness is consciousness. What we do has a direct relationship and result in what we see outside of ourselves, and we begin to say this is life. So when we say, well, there is only one life, and that life is God, and that life is my life, and that life is your life, right here and right now. And so let us live the best life. And when someone says, ask you a question and you begin, I am, put after that which you really are calling into being. Okay? It is the most powerful that you can do. So you're conscious on the I am, consciousness, oneness, consciousness. I am love. I am peace. I am power. I am abundant. I am divine right relationship. I am one with all that is. I am you and you are me. We are all one because we are conscious of the one. And this I allow to move into my heart. And this I allow to come out and multiply as we spread the word of peace, that this is of love, of all that we could ever desire is ours in the revelation of the consciousness of oneness. We are one. We are powerful. We are beautiful manifestations of the Most High. The Most High God and the innermost God are the same God. And so just breathe that in and know that everything in every moment is absolutely perfect because there is only the perfection of God. Absolutely whole. We are one in this wholeness and complete. And so I just breathe this in and I let this be and I allow the consciousness of oneness to be the presiding motivator and factor in my life, in our life, and I let it be. I breathe this in. I am so grateful for this time. I'm so grateful for this sharing. I'm so grateful for all of us. I'm so grateful knowing that at some point there was one thing that caught the attention of each and every person here, at least one thing, because we are here by divine appointment. We are here for a reason. And I just let it be. And I say thank you. I release this. I release this, knowing that this is the truth of God. I let it be. And so it is. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you.